There's one major aspect to sustained happiness that needs to be integrated into our life, and that is the absolute knowledge that happiness comes from our own inner world rather than an external experience. Even though we do experience happiness because of external realities, but for sustained happiness we need to recognize that it's always coming from inside. It's coming from what we decide to make things mean. So the simple decision every day that I'm going to be the happiest I possibly can be today, it's so powerfully beneficial to start the day that way, especially if there's an emotion that you wake up with that doesn't feel particularly good. So if I was happy, what would I think? And how would I feel? Just imagine if you were. Now, it's easy to say that when you're feeling okay or happy. It's much more difficult to do it when you're not feeling good. It's like, I don't feel good. Happiness, what's that, But we must work on it. We've got to recognize that happiness is coming because of thought forms and patterns of behaviors that are established because of the thought forms. Think about that. So we think about 95 to 98% of the same thoughts that we thought yesterday. So we're basically thinking the same stuff every day. And then we make the same decisions and then take the same actions. So if you don't feel good, it's not because of what you're looking at or what's going on. In fact, you bring stuff to validate you not feeling good, and then it looks like it's the outside that's making you not feel good. But the outside is just reflecting what's going on inside. So if you've got repetitive actions and behaviors that are in alignment with you not feeling good, then you'll validate that belief about life by what you look at. You'll put filters on everything to validate that, see, there's nothing to be happy about. Right? So we've got to look at, this is where awareness comes in. We've got to look at what am I thinking, and what are the patterns that are playing inside of me that then generate me, or at least create me, to experience reality that way. Right? So I've got power. Again, I can drive my life when I'm looking from this place. Then we've got to look at the patterns inside of ourselves that are creating life. Now, when I look without judgment, I must not judge. You'll hear me say this regularly in my videos. If I judge myself, I keep the thing that I'm judging locked inside. So I must not judge. It's very important, this. So if I look at my patterns and realize that until this moment, I was unaware of what the pattern was doing. So you're innocent, right? You're really innocent because you didn't realize what you're now realizing. So when you start to look inside and question your thoughts and look at what am I thinking regularly, what decisions am I making regularly that ends up in me feeling not particularly happy? What's going on? What's my creation here? Because it is our creation. And that's why to get to a place of happiness and optimism, it needs to be generated from within. So we've got to first and foremost develop awareness by looking regularly, especially when we don't feel good. What's my creation here? What am I thinking? What have I just thought that doesn't make me feel particularly good? Right? This is so important that we do this. So the first thing is the awareness. And then we look at the decisions that we're making. If I make that decision again, will it be a great feeling result for me? And what could I think about this situation? If I was love, what would love do right now? If love was at the center of this situation, what would it do? If I was the ambassador of love right now, what would I advise people to do in the situation that I find myself in? What would love do? Because love always holds the solution. Love includes every aspect and looks to make sure that every aspect is in harmony. That's what love does. Love looks at life and says, regardless of what life does, it looks at life and says, come and let me love you. right? That's what love does. So if we come from that place that is founded in love, everything gets better. Now, of course, because we've been thinking life in a particular way for a long time, we've got these strong neural pathways. They're like 6-lane highways, some of the neural pathways we've created. So it's very easy to go back down that way again because the pathway's already created. And to start a new way of thinking and doing life, we're in a dense forest with one little, whatever it's called, an axe, to try and chop down a new road. So it's much easier, we can look at that and say, I've had enough of that, it's too difficult. Let me just go down there, because even though I don't like it, it still works because I'm still here, right? I still survive by going that way. But then I go back into a loop that doesn't necessarily give me a wonderful existence. So it's worth the effort to create the new neural pathways and to create new ways of thinking. If I was love right now, what would I do? How would I see this? Now, there'll be a strong part that says, but I'm not love and I can't do this and it's just this way and I feel terrible. But that's a thought form, right? The whole thing that you know of as life is happening inside of you. You're the only thing going on, right? I say it regularly, just to wake myself up to it. But you're the only thing that's ever going on, ever. It's always your show, always. So if it doesn't feel good, it's got nothing to do with them or that or it or the situation, the event, the weather, whatever it is. It's got nothing to do with it. It's got everything to do with how you are interpreting what you're looking at, which is you. So your inner world is the cause of your happiness or lack of it. So bringing awareness to yourself and asking much better questions. And that's such a great question to ask. If I was the ambassador of love, how would I advise people if they were in the situation I'm in, right? If I was love, what would love do right now? How would love think about this? How would love do this? How would love overcome this challenge? Well, it would open its arms. Like when we are stuck and afraid, we close our system because we're stuck. So everything contracts within us. Do you think love does that? No, love never does that. Love says, open, come. Let me love this situation. So look, something that you can add to assist you is to have the perception that life is always helping me. Even though it is a difficult, challenging time, it's always assisting me. So if I'm looking at my existence and believing that life is always helping me, then I know that the challenge in front of me is not to hurt me or stop me, it's to help me expand. So if I'm asking the question of what would love do right now, and knowing that the challenge is only there to help me, then I can move beyond it. And I start to create happier realities because I know I'm back in charge as well. You see, if we think we are a victim to circumstance, we feel we have no power. So we've got to recognize, the first part of your awareness training is to recognize this is my show. I'm always in the center of it. And the way that I drive it is very much determined by how I think about what I'm looking at. And there's always a way to think positively, always. What would love do? What's the solution? What's great about this situation? These are questions that will lift your field. And always remember, your unconscious has your back always. It's always looking after you. It's always assisting you. It's always there to help you. It's always moving life in a way that wants to help you, always, in every single way. And if you recognize and perceive reality that way, everything gets better, because when you look at the challenge, you think, oh, my guidance system's really helping me right now. It's working to awaken me and to expand my consciousness to make life much better for me. Great. What can we do? How can I look at this in a different way? What would love do in this situation? Have an absolutely fantastic day when you watch this. I look forward to talking to you again next time. Thank you so much.